well, not all of the bands from Australia. These bands are all Australian. Parkway Drive, The Amity Affliction, North Lane, and Make Them Suffer. All Aussies, all at Jacobs Pavilion on Friday night, September the 22nd. AXS.com has got the details for you. You'll get the last pair from me this week. Good luck. Parkway Drive and Company. Call 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
He might have been just a voice man.
He's the man of 1,000 voices.
Greatest voice man that ever lived.
None of which will make you laugh.
But he never took a performance for granted.
Alan Cox.
On 100.7 WMMS.
2 hours to midnight tomorrow night. Got a good show lined up for you. It's 2 hours of metal. Starts at 10 o'clock. Me, Corey Roddick, Pat Butler. Misfits tomorrow night. Wage War. Local music from The Last Witch. And Mutilation Barbecue. And lots more in there as well. Your suggestions, bands you dig, all of it. You can always email 2htm@wmms.com. But tomorrow night, we're back. Me and Corey and Pat. 2 hours to midnight here on MMS. Next week on this show, I will have plenty of fun things to give to you. Not least of which is we're starting Alan Cox Show night on the Cleveland Funny Bus. Maybe you've joined the Cleveland Funny Bus before because they've been doing this for a minute, and people who have gone on it have learned a little bit and laughed a little bit, right? They're local comics who kind of are your tour guides on the Funny Bus. Leaves from Collision Bend, and it's about 90 minutes. And the next handful of Wednesdays, we will be your host. I will be your first host this coming Wednesday night. Go to funnybus.net for the tickets because they will go quickly, but we'd love to have you along. I'm sure Bill will host one.
I'm sure I will.
Imagine Mary will host one. But I'll be your host for the inaugural Alan Cox Show night on the Cleveland Funny Bus this coming Wednesday. Again, all the info for you. Go to funnybus.net, but I will have tickets to give away Monday and Tuesday of next week. Also, hook you up if you want to go see Bill Maher. He's doing MGM Northfield Park in a couple of weeks. I will have Buzzard Fest tickets for you. That is August the 4th out at Victory Sports Park. The return of Buzzard Fest after 23 years. We're bringing it back. Incubus, Bush, Live Filter, Welshly Arms, Kaleidoscope Kid, and Winona Fighter. BuzzardFest.com for that. I want to go see Clutch. I'll have those. And if you just want to get yourself to Monster Jam, that's June 3rd over at Brown Stadium. So all that next week. Guardians play tonight. They are back home to start up the weekend series against the Twins. And it seems like they're going to have a really good night. Be a fine time to be at the ballpark. It's 62 degrees right now. It's not going to get much cooler than that.
From Shake Shack across the street.
I have yet to go to Shake Shack. It is literally across the street from
fantastic.
us. We've been here since August, and I have yet to have Shake Shack. Not just from there. I've never had Shake Shack.
I like Shake Shack. I try to not go there too often because, it's not the healthiest food, but
I love it.
Damn, it's good.
Do they give you whipped cream on top?
No, they didn't do that. They might do that if you request it, but I don't need that, especially when I have like a cap on it. Like there's a lid on it, so then you had to take it apart and try and get to the whipped cream.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just a good classic milkshake, though. I think it's custard and not ice cream.
What does that mean? Oh, it's not? It's not like a McDonald's milkshake?
No.
It's like a Culver's thing. So it's thicker?
It's not that thick.
Damn it, Bill! You're inspiring me. You're gonna make me get one after the show.
But
Get one right now.
Isn't custard thicker than ice cream? It's made of different stuff, right?
I don't know. I just know it's good and it's not that thick. I'm not a custard guy. I don't know everything about custard. I just know that this milkshake is.
I like my
going down
ladies like I like
smooth.
my custard.
Mm-hmm.
Thick. All right.
I mean,
That's all
I
it
know I
takes.
was bragging about having the crematorium earlier this week, but not that kind of cream. Not that kind of custard.
That's all it takes, Poundcake, for you to be nudged over to the Shake Shack?
It sounds divine.
That I'd be lying if I said I wasn't bummed about that. I was going to be your host. Julia Mary was going to be the comic who was going to be showing you around Cleveland. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's BYOB. But we were going to have Paul Stanley do it. You know, he's well versed in that.
Here's Paul Stanley driving an RTA bus. Yes. Okay, that's cool. Next stop, Tower City. They got a lot of nice shops in there. You can even get you some Chinese food at the food court. I'm Paul Stanley driving a bus. That was Paul Stanley driving an RTA bus.
And another reminder at how old that bit is, that Tower City was still a viable retail establishment. I was in the kitchen a couple of breaks ago and I heard our sports update. And the guy was talking about how Tom Brady might want to get out of the TV deal he signed with Fox. And this is how he hadn't even been on the air yet. He's going to take a gap year after retiring. And then he had signed a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox Sports. And this is how you know you're already crazy rich. As you go, I don't need that money.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel.
When people talk about financial freedom, that is above and beyond what they're talking about. You know, to have FU money, he's like, I thought about it at the time. I thought that who better to make the transition from playing to commenting on it, except that Tom Brady, I hate to break it to you, Bureau Cheese in Massachusetts, is practically, for as attractive as he is, he's always gotten way too much credit for having a great personality. He's practically lacking charisma. I think people just assume that because he's so good looking, they've kind of given him a pass. But there's not a whole lot. I hope he doesn't quit, because I would love to see them locked into a 10-year deal with Tom Brady. I mean, obviously, no. You know, Tony Romo was like lightning in a bottle because he was kind of a lunkhead, but when he was on TV, he was great. And they were like, oh, my God. I mean, nobody thought there was going to be a bidding war over Tony Romo. But they were like, oh, my God, he's great. He's funny and he's quick and whatever. He's got a good sense, obviously, of the game. And he can, you know, in what's Poundcake's phrase in not layman's terms? What's his phrase?
Oh.
In something terms. What do you say, Poundcake? I
gotta consult. Terms.
In language terms, that's right.
Terms.
In language terms, he can. I haven't consulted the Poundcake glossary in a while. In language terms, he can get the point across. But
go with those language terms.
Tom Brady hasn't even been on television yet, and there's a rumor that he's been talking to his team, his management people, about he might not really want to be locked in for the next decade with Fox and get to kiss his son on the lips goodnight that night. And it just doesn't have the same feel when you're doing it on FaceTime.
Well, that's why you want a job like the TNT guys, where you're just in Atlanta.
In the studio.
Doing those studio things. You don't have to travel unless it's playoffs or the All-Star game. They don't have to travel nearly as much. But when you are calling the games, that's when there is so much travel.
Yeah. But this was really going to put Fox Sports, I mean, it's already a big deal, but this was the get, Tom Brady. And if he goes,
well, because they just lost Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Yep.
And so
to Amazon.
They're looking for them. No, I thought they lost them to Monday Night Football.
Who went over to Amazon? Al Michaels?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Troy Aikman. So, yeah, that's pretty wild. But again, people can toss around the what ifs all you want, but what jumps out at me is that's a decision of a guy who doesn't need that kind of money. And most athletes coming out of their playing career would kill for that money. Because unless they've been really smart in their playing career, you got to have a second act. You know, if you're retired by 40, you know, you're like, well, how am I going to? And not everybody's got a lot of charisma. Not everybody can be Shaq or Charles Barkley. So I don't know. We'll see what. Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Hold that thought, Paul.
Yeah.
I just realized I have to give away some money here. So hold on, Paul. Let me give you $1,000 to somebody else. Not Paul. chance to grab some money here from the Buzzard Bookie. Last few keywords this afternoon, so listen closely and good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Check. That's check. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Okay, Paul, thank you. I'm sorry. What's going on?
I didn't know I was going to be put on the air.
Wait, hold on.
I just wanted to...
Hold on, Paul. Hold on again.
I'm going to change the subject now.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
All right. I was just calling about a concern I had with a school district, a school that I live across from in Cleveland Heights. They said they weren't cutting their grass for a while, and especially with the weeds growing and stuff, it affects everyone. It doesn't look good, and they said they're holding off on cutting the lawn until they can find someone who doesn't use gas-powered mowers.
Yeah, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. I didn't know that it was centralized to Cleveland Heights, but they're talking about the No Mow, M-O-W, No Mow May is what it's called.
Yeah.
Where they're just going to let the lawns go. What's the problem with that?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, with the dandelions and weeds and everything else, when they go to seed, they're going to affect everyone else's lawns in the area.
So?
And so that's going to end up costing people more to take care of their lawn and do more work.
Wait. Dandelion seeds are going to... Wait, you're talking about the dandelion seeds blowing into other people's lawns?
Yes.
And that causes a problem for other people's lawns?
Right, because people then have to do more work to get rid of the growing weeds and everything else. And for one thing, it looks worse.
But I think the whole point of this is that they're encouraging people to let the grasses grow because it's kind of good for the ecology, and small flowers can bloom and things like that. And there are a lot of people who are of the mind that lawn maintenance is a waste of time. So I think that's probably, they tell people you're not supposed to mow your lawn down to look like a golf green, right? You're supposed to kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And they're taking this to, I guess, its logical conclusion. But you're saying that for your neighborhood, it would be a pain in the ass?
Yeah, it would be.
But I don't understand why.
More of a problem because it creates. Well, that's not how lawns are supposed to be kept up, and the city starts citing people for not taking care of their lawns.
I see. You're talking about the aesthetic value of it.
And the aesthetic value, of course.
Yeah, but Paul, I would imagine, Paul, that if they're doing this locally out there in Cleveland Heights, then they're not going to be citing people.
Yeah.
Right?
I get that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just ridiculous not cutting lawn and wanting to find mowers that don't use gas-powered mowing.
I got to tell you, Paul, I have an electric mower, and I think it's awesome. I love it.
Well, I use my electric mower. Yeah, I have an electric mower for myself personally, but to be able to hold off on especially a large commercial mowers that cost so much money and use battery, all the battery use, it just promotes way too much use of the kind of rare earth minerals that we shouldn't be, having to go to other countries to buy. People who are mining them with forced labor and slave labor.
Well, you stumbled onto. I think you've stumbled onto something that's equally important there, Paul. You're talking about how we get the materials for the batteries.
Of course.
Right. Well, you can't ignore that either. So, Paul, will you express your displeasure to them across the street, or are you just going to kind of stand out there and shake your head at them?
No, I've already called. We've already called the board and everything else.
Yeah.
Left messages.
Well, that's all you can do, right?
For right now.
Well, good luck, Paul. Don't take the lawn into your own hands, Paul. You see what I did, Bill?
Sure.
Don't take the lawn into your own hands. You got it. All right, thank you. There's Paul out in Cleveland Heights. Who's not a huge fan there of the No Mow May. You can hear this studio. You still hear a little bit of sound coming in. They're mowing right in front of our studio.
Which makes a lot of sense because there's so much grass out there.
Well, there's not anymore. They just took it right down.
They took it right down to the
right down to the nubs, boy. The little pieces of grass that'll come up through the cobblestones and the bricks and things, They're not screwing around. They take it right down. Hey, we're trying to do a thing in here. Can you guys talk to these guys through the window? Hey, can you guys? Hey, hey! They can't hear me. Hey, hey!
Let me try.
I think I'm on. Yeah, you try.
Yeah. I'm going to do it Fonzie style. I'm just going to do this. Got it.
Wow, dude.
I was going to go out there and,
And do what?
call
Twerk?
them out. No, call them out their names.
Call them out there. What?
Call them out their names.
Explain that to me.
Call them all types of names and then tell them where they
call
can
them
go.
names. I think you may call them by their names.
Call
I'm
them
like, how
out
do you
their
know their
names?
Call them what?
You never heard that term, like, don't call me out my name?
No.
Oh, wow.
Don't call me a name.
God.
Is that what it means? Don't call. Is this
Calling
listen,
me anything other than my name. Call me out my name. You
that doesn't even sound like
it's
English. I don't know.
You're having a
slang,
stroke.
Is it Disney? Yeah, you're having a
Yes,
stroke.
does Johnny Tsunami teach you this?
Is this
Oh my
from
God.
the Disney Channel?
No. Don't. I can't believe you've never heard that. People say, don't call me out my name. Blah, blah, blah. If you're getting cussed out, like, wow, okay, then.
Well, now I've heard it. If you repeat that, I'll go, now I know what he's talking about.
Don't call me out my name. It's out of my name, but still is out my name for short. Don't call me out my name. But okay.
Alan Paul should just put some goats in the lawn and see how the city feels about that. Listen, I remember when I was a kid, there was a guy who made one of the papers. There was a guy that they wrote about in the Chicago Tribune. I was like in the 6th or 7th grade, where he was renting sheep for people who, just as a goof, not as a goof. I mean, he had this stock, one of like the, once you get outside the suburbs there, it's all farmland and things like that. And there was a guy who would rent a sheep that would then eat your lawn, chew your lawn down. It's some kind of, I guess, frontier lawn mowing service. I don't know. He was renting sheep to people. But I got him in the paper. He's probably dead now. It was a long time ago. Those goats and sheep are probably all dead now. Alan, I hate to say it, but call me out my name is an actual saying. No, I believe him. I just never heard it before. Slang is so fleeting that by the time you get a hold of something, it's either not around or...
Why do people hate to say it? Like, all
well,
these
I
are
think,
not like Poundcake isms. Like,
No. I think that they were telling me that I wasn't saying that... I wasn't denying it was a thing. I was just saying I'd never heard it before. Alan, you remember Phil Collins said, no mo, no mo. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I've got to take a break here. If you want to send a text for anything, 35192 to get me there, alancoxshow.com. And you can listen and leave messages for us on the